Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair is visiting Greencastle today. He'll speak at DePauw University tonight. 24-hour News 8's Eric Holverson is live on the DePauw campus where people are already lined up waiting to see Blair. Eric?
Yeah, it's amazing how big the line has become. We can give you an idea just looking behind us. The doors opened in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and taking a look at some of the umbrellas over there may be a good way to welcome the former British Prime Minister to town, because I'd say he's probably seen a few in his time in his years in Great Britain. No longer serving as the Prime Minister, but we talked to some of the students who were out here earlier. We can give you a look at how the line developed, and people were out here with books, in addition to umbrellas, doing some of their homework. As they were standing out here waiting in line, we had a chance to ask them why Tony Blair was such an appeal for them. They said it was an opportunity they couldn't miss.
Well, it's Tony Blair, really. It's once in a lifetime, I think, for him to come to Greencastle, Indiana. It's a pretty unique opportunity.
It's his first public appearance in the U.S. since his retirement, so also the fact that, I mean, he's a notable speaker. How many times are you really going to get to see Tony Blair in your life?
I'm kind of caught up in the whole election process so far, and I kind of want to hear kind of the outside world's perspective on the United States and kind of what we need to look at as a country.
And Tony Blair has made a number of appearances around the world since he left the Prime Ministership of Britain. He is also a Middle East peace envoy now. He has a great variety of things that he can address once we get the opportunity to hear them this evening. We will have that story for you tonight at 10 on Channel 23, MyNDY, and of course on Wish TV at 11. Eric Holverson, 24-hour News 8 at DePauw University. DePauw University scores another visit by a big-time foreign dignitary. We'll tell you who all of these people want to see tonight. That's next.
This is 24-hour News 8 at 6 on Wish TV, your 24-hour news source.
Thank you. That's very kind of you indeed, and most generous. And thank you for making me feel so welcome here today, including putting on the British weather for me, which is much appreciated. Bob, thank you for that most kind and generous introduction. I hadn't actually realized until I came to DePauw that you'd had 4 British Prime Ministers here before me. You saved the worst till last, and I don't believe that when Harold Wilson or Harold Macmillan stood and spoke to you as previous former British Prime Ministers or British Prime Ministers, I think Harold Macmillan was actually the Prime Minister when he came here in 1958. I don't suppose they could have predicted all of the changes that would happen. But actually I did have the opportunity of reading a bit of Harold Macmillan's speech at DePauw in 1958. 50 years ago, almost 50 years ago to this day, actually. And he spoke then about the interdependence of the world. And he spoke then about the need for America and Britain to realize the world as it was after the post-war years was not going to be the world as it was going to be in the years to come. And he was absolutely right. And what has happened today in the year 2008 is that this idea of interdependence that was a sort of political cliche has actually come to fulfillment. We are interdependent today. No one country is strong enough, not even this country, powerful and great though it is strong enough to be able to handle and to meet the global challenges that we face on its own.
Security was tight at DePauw tonight. It was imposed for Tony Blair's speech in Greencastle. The former British Prime Minister addressed topics from terrorism to the global economy. He eased into the speech, acknowledging that he's the 5th British Prime Minister to appear at DePauw.
You saved the worst till last.
Now, as a peace envoy to the Middle East, Blair still has a keen interest in world events.
I managed to get out of office young enough still to try and contemplate some of the changes in the world.
He set restrictions on how long we could record his speech, allowing just 5 minutes before it was cut off. He told of a recent visit to Africa and shared the discovery that the most influential nation there is no longer the United States or any old colonial power.
It's China. China will invest more in Africa this year than the European Union and America put together.
We were allowed to stay, but with the microphones dead. And then Blair elaborated on the extraordinary, as he put it, pace of change in the world. He noted that meeting challenges is not a political issue for us, and he said it cannot be, because in the future, no single country will be able to meet future challenges alone. Blair said democracies cannot show weakness, but they must also work together to spread democratic values around the world as a counter to terrorist extremism.